Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today I actually am just stopping by the church. I left the equipment here yesterday after service, and something I wanted to do was update the settings, like my song settings that I have in the Blue Sky and the Timeline. And you guys know that I'm using the Multiswitch to control both of them at the same time, so I thought today would be a great opportunity for me to kind of walk you through how I set up the settings in the Strymon library application on the computer, and then put those into the pedals and then actually control them together. So we're gonna hop right on in there. All right, so I'm set up here. I got the pedal board turned on. What I wanted to show you guys really quick, if you want to do this, you have to actually, as you can imagine, connect the pedal to the computer. So the way that I do that is I use this little thing called the Mio by a company called iConnectivity. I think I picked it up from Guitar Center for maybe like 20 bucks or something like that. It's basically just got USB on one side, and then you have the MIDI in and out cables on the other. So works out pretty well, and obviously really pretty inexpensive. So I'm just going to connect that to the Timeline. We'll adjust the settings on that first, and then we'll go over to the Big Sky. So let's connect that. Now, just so that you know, the pedal will not connect or make a connection to the computer if it's not connected correctly. So you're gonna connect the MIDI in on the cable to the MIDI out on the pedal, and obviously vice versa. So, because if you do that, then it won't make a connection. It doesn't really know what it's trying to do. So what I'll do is when I plug it in, I'm gonna go up here to the settings menu. I hit MIDI Setup, and just test the connection to make sure that the pedal is making a good connection. You hit OK, and there, right down in the bottom right, you'll see the pedal pop up, and it shows you what version of the firmware is installed on there as well. So now I'll hit Fetch, and it'll take a second. It's going to take a look at the pedal, and it's going to load in all of the presets and the order that they're in. So this is a really great tool, especially if you are doing set lists, that change maybe periodically or whatever. You don't have to I remember when I was starting to play with presets on the pedal, and I was like, can I move these presets around? And so when I figured this thing out, I was like, oh, this is great, it's perfect. So ultimately, I have a list of songs. On the left-hand side is basically that's what's in the pedal. On the right-hand side is your, they call it work list. It's what you can kind of move around, and then you just sync it. So basically, I want to move a couple things around that are a little bit more relevant to what I'm doing lately. So Reckless Love is a song that we've been doing a bit more. I want to move it to the second space in the presets, just so that it's right after our open, which is usually what the open preset is really just kind of me playing around for a minute or so before we actually go into a song. So whenever you want to rename or move a song, you got to have it highlighted, and then you would hit, obviously, rename or move. So in this case, I'm not renaming it. I just want to move it to a different position. So it pulls up this preset to move, and then where is it going? So what you want to do is you're going to select a space. Now, when you select the space that you want it to go into, you can either swap it with that preset, or you can replace the preset. So obviously I'm not replacing the preset because Set a Fire is a song that we do as well. It's just not going to be first in our next service. So I will hit swap, and now you can see on the right hand side that it basically swapped the places of those two presets. So then another song that we're going to start doing is going to be Oh Come to the Altar. So I want to move that to after Do It Again, because Do It Again we've been doing fairly often. And so I'm just going to hit move here. I'm going to move it to replace How He Loves. And it's, again, I'm just hitting swap. It's not moving anything too far away from one another. And honestly, because of the way that I have it set up with the multi-switch, if I'm a little out of order, it's fine, because it's very easy to maneuver between the presets on both pedals. And then that looks about good, about right. And I think I will just move Living Hope, and right up to Oh Come to the Altar. So I'll hit move, and then I will select the spot that Set a Fire is in, and then I hit swap, and that's it. So that's pretty much the order that I would like to have kind of going forward for at least a little bit. And now I will hit sync, and it'll take a second, and then it moves those presets in that list over to the actual pedal. So now I want to move those same exact presets, or that same order, over to the Big Sky, because when I am maneuvering through the presets using the multi-switch, the pedals have to be in the same order or else they won't line up. So I'm just going to take a quick little, targeted screenshot here of the list. I don't need to take the whole thing, but just so that I have an idea of what the list looks like. And that's pretty much it. So now I'll disconnect, and I will connect it to the Big Sky. So same thing that I did before. I'm going to go into settings, MIDI settings, there you go, and test, just to get the pedal loaded in there. And you can see Big Sky pops up bottom right. Now I'm going to hit fetch again to get those presets loaded. So just for reference here, now that I have the settings pulled up, I'm just going to pull up that little screenshot I took before, and I'll have that here. So I want to basically move Reckless Love to second in the list. So I'm going to move this. It will take the spot of Set a Fire, swap, perfect, and then Come to the Altar. We'll move to where How He Loves is, and we're going to move that. Come to the Altar. Go to How He Loves, and swap. Cool, and then, what was it, Living Hope. We'll move to where Set a Fire is, right? Cool, swap. And just want to make sure that everything else looks good. And what you'll see is that everything else is pretty much in sync. So now I'll sync that list over to the pedal, and that's pretty much it. Really, really simple. Now, obviously, I'll go in and make sure that all that stuff lines up when I connect the multi-switch, which I'm going to do right now. So I'll show you how that stuff works too. So now I'm going to unplug the Mio from the Big Sky, plug things back in how I had it, and so I'm just using a TRS cable from Hosa. I think I got from Amazon for 15 or 20 bucks, and then I'm using just one of these cool little short 90-degree angle disaster area MIDI cables, which is cool because you can actually adjust the angle that it actually is coming out of the pedal, so it makes it really, really easy. So I'm just going to connect the two pedals with that. So I'll go MIDI out from the Timeline to the MIDI in on the Big Sky. The MIDI settings that I have set up basically make it so that while technically the multi-switch is only controlling the timeline, but the timeline is actually controlling the Big Sky. So to get to those settings, I'm just going to hold the value button here. I'm going to global, right? I'm going to go over to MIDI path, and you're going to make sure that that's on. If it's off, it's not doing any external MIDI control, so you just want to make sure that's on. And then same thing for the Big Sky. What I want to do is, let's go back to here. You want to make sure that all the MIDI settings are off as well, except for the path. That's basically securing the connection between the two of them. But there's this one here, I believe the TH is off, and if it's on, what will happen is the tap tempo on the multi-switch, or I guess the tap tempo on the timeline, will control the pre-delay setting on whatever reverb preset that you have. So obviously you don't want it to do that. You just want the tap tempo button on the multi-switch to control the tap tempo on the timeline, at least in my particular need. I only need both pedals to be in sync when I'm going up and down with the presets. So that's pretty much it with that. All right, so now when now that they're both lined up, when I go into the multi-switch here, now I can, if I go to the second preset on the timeline, it'll move it on the Big Sky as well. But if I do it here, you can see it moves it at the same time. So really pretty useful way to go, especially in church and kind of being able to needing to kind of move around with presets fairly quickly. The other thing too is that sometimes I could have a particular plan for the order of songs that we're going to do, and then we may go in a different direction depending on how the service is moving and stuff like that. So it's nice to be able to easily maneuver through presets just using the one multi-switch for both pedals, which is really, really great. So cool, so that's about it. I just wanted to come in here quick, and since I was going to be doing that anyway, I wanted to show you guys how I do that. If you have any questions or comments about any of this stuff, please leave a comment. Quick little update, I just wanted to let you guys know I've been posting once a week for the last month, about 3 weeks or something like that, and I've been feeling pretty good about it, trying to get you some videos, but I am just gonna let you guys know that next week we are expecting our second child to come, so it may be a few weeks before I'm able to get you guys another video, but I want to thank all you guys for subscribing and liking and commenting on the videos. If you have any questions or anything, again, please let me know through either the comment section or through Twitter, and I will see you, I guess, when I see you. Take care.